Guys, I keep hearing over the last, year and a half, that everything changed after October 7th. That phrase, everything changed after October 7th. Everything changed after October 7th. My friends, for me, the only thing that changed after October 7th was the reaction of people regarding our so-called enemies. I mean, they are our enemies. I've been in October 7th mode for as long as I can remember, my friends. Why have I been in October 7th mode since the 80s? Okay, the first Intifada in 1987. The bombing of the Dolphinarium nightclub in Tel Aviv in the 90s. The Passover massacre in Netanya. The Ramallah lynching of soldiers in the year 2000, I believe it was, or 2001. The massacre of the Fogel family in Itamar. The killing of Ari Fuld. My friends, honestly, I can literally go on and on and on. The Maalot massacre. If you want to go further back, we can go to the Hebron massacre before the State of Israel was founded. But I wasn't alive back then. The Nebi Musa riots. Again, I wasn't alive back then. But guys, as far as I can remember, I personally, or any normal person who is connected to Israel in any way, shape, or form, even if they never lived in Israel, even if they're not a citizen of Israel, any normal Jew who's connected to Israel should be and has been in what we call October 7th mode since the 80s, basically. My friends, our enemies saw that they couldn't defeat us with conventional military. They tried in 1948, they tried in 1953, they tried in 1967, they tried in 1973. By the way, Munich 1972 should have put you in October 7th mode automatically, right? Most people, but for whatever reason it didn't stick, right? They made a movie about it, it didn't stick. Spielberg recently, 20 years ago. It didn't stick. It was a nice movie, right? Depicting reality. So, my friends, a lot of people, surprisingly, shockingly, all these years, after all these horrible things, as horrible as October 7th, just not as many people, but as horrible as in terms of the deeds, still had it in their heads that, first of all, the Palestinians are a legitimate entity. Why were they even created, my friends? Do you know why they were created? They were created by the KGB and Yasser Arafat. Why? Because Yasser Arafat and the KGB saw that Israel cannot be defeated militarily, so let's create this fake entity, which is a, cobbling together of different Arabs, different Arab tribes, and we're going to do it that way. We're going to do it politically and with these, actions, on the ground actions, like foot soldier kind of activities, and politically, we're going to do it in the political arena, and we're going to convince people that our cause is just. We're going to do attacks, and we're going to turn ourselves, into the weak victim, guerrilla warfare, underdog, and everybody will empathize with us in the international community. And anyway, they hate Jews anyway, everybody else. And okay, that's how we're going to get our and people, my friends. And some of you guys were convinced that there's such a thing as a Palestine, and there needs to be a two-state solution, that we have to disconnect from these people physically, and that's how we're going to get peace. Not realizing that whenever they sing their songs on the radio stations, Arab radio stations, they're singing about what? Returning back to Haifa, returning back to Jaffa, Tel Aviv, returning back to what we call Netanya, returning back to Nahariya, basically returning back to what is called Israel proper. My friends, in their minds, their state, in their heads, is the state that we have. It's not a second state somewhere else, or the quote-unquote West Bank. It's the whole thing. My friends, what they told us in the open, was something different from what they actually wanted. So, they convinced you that this was a thing. You, for some reason, did not go into October 7th mode after all these horrible massacres that I just described to you, even though people like myself were in October 7th mode. Oh, I forgot one more, the Sparrow Pizzeria bombing. So we have the Netanya massacre, Pesach, We have the Sparrow Pizzeria bombing. We have the Fogel family. We have the Delphinarium. We have the Ramallah lynching. We have so many other attacks over and over and over again. And October 7th was what did you in. And finally you realize that there's no such thing as a two-state solution. But before that, it was okay. My friends, I'm sorry that I'm getting worked out, but I'm sure you can understand me. My friends, that's why I always tell people, for me, nothing changed after October 7th. Yeah, you could say it was a bigger scale attack, way more people, and then hostages taken. My friends, they took a soldier hostage. And we exchanged them for 1,000 of these orcs, including Yahya Sinwar, who planned this attack. My friends, I don't know if you and I live on the same planet. Any normal person with a healthy neshama and a healthy consciousness should have already been in what we call October 7th mode since the 80s or the 90s. Now you could say, well, Tzvi, not everybody was, you have the newer generation. I'm talking about people my age and older who thought and who maybe even still think that there should be some kind of a Palestinian something, two-state solution, something, blah, 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 and all the rest of it. My friends, I really do not know what planet you live on and where you've been since the 80s, and especially since the 70s. I'm not mentioning even Munich, where they hunted us down somewhere else, on foreign soil. Yeah, they made a cute movie about it, Steven Spielberg, Oscars, whoop-de-doo. Oh, tough Jews played by non-Jews. They couldn't even get Jews to play. They couldn't even get Jews to play Jews, folks. We can't even get Jews. That's another conversation. To play tough Jews. We don't have any tough Jews around. Any actors that can play tough Jews? We got one guy. What's his name? Lev Schreiber. He played in what's that movie about the Belsky brothers? That's it. That's all you get. And the rest of the time we get who? The guy that looks like a toothpick. This guy. What's his name? Adrian Brody, the pianist and the brutalist. Folks, I don't want to veer off too much. If you were not in October 7th mode since the first Intifada, there's something wrong with you. If you're old enough to remember these things, the first Intifada, again, the Delphinarium, all these things that happened in the 80s and 90s and 2000s, and on and on and on. If you were not in October 7th mode before October 7th, I have nothing else to tell you guys. I really have nothing else to say. It's bizarre to me. I don't understand you people. We are in different realms. We operate on a different wavelength. I operate, again, in reality. You guys operate in the realm of fantasy. Now you could say, Tzvi, but what about Torah, and what about this, and what about that? My friends, believing in the Torah and believing in Nevuah, believing in that, there's facts on the ground that actually prove that the prophets were right, doesn't mean you live in fantasy world when it comes to your enemies and or defending yourself. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean you're loosing the sky with diamonds or floaty whatever, right? Floaty boaty. That's not what it means. It's two different things. You can be connected to Torah and Hashem, and yes, wanting peace and wanting goodness and wanting Mashiach and wanting all these wonderful things, but at the same time, you're on the ground, you're looking at what's happening, you're looking at what the Torah tells us about these people and these things, and it predicts what would happen if you don't do X, Y, and Z, and you say to yourself, 2 + 2 = 4. That's the correct way to go about this, guys. It's not the extremist way. It's not the caveman way. It's not the throwback ancient, not useless, but outdated way. No, it's the most normal and up to date and best way to go about it. You look at the Torah. You look at what the Torah says about what we're supposed to be doing. Anytime anybody threatens us, or physically does anything to us, especially over, a 40 or 50 or 60 year time span, and that's it. And that's how you do things. Not how the world wants you to do them, and not how, what you think based on modern sensibilities will lead you to peace. Clearly it has not, guys. Again, I don't know where you live. I know where I live. I don't know where you live. Meaning, I don't know where you get your ideas from. And I don't know what you're looking at that's different from what I'm looking at. Unless you're just not looking at it. Unless you're just avoiding it. Anyway, guys. I'm done ranting at you. But yeah, for me, that's what I mean when I say nothing for me changed after October 7th. That's what I mean when I say that. And if you're normal, nothing should have changed for you either. Talk to you soon.